Welcome to the Leading Owls podcast, brought to you by Rice University's Doerr Institute for New Leaders. Each week, we bring you inspiring stories and practical tips from successful student leaders, faculty, and staff, along with leadership experts and coaches that will help guide you in your own leadership journey. In this episode of the Leading Owls podcast, we're joined by Kaitlyn, a standout student from Duncan College who wears many hats on campus, including 2025 OE Coordinator, Doerr Institute Student Ambassador, Culture and Inclusion Committee Co-Head, and RPC College Rep. Kaitlyn shares her journey from first-year student to leading one of the most exciting weeks at Rice, how she's bringing her vision to OE while honoring Duncan's traditions, and the impact the Doerr Institute has had on her leadership style. Plus, don't miss our rapid-fire round where Kaitlyn dishes on her favorite Duncan traditions, study spots, Chaus drinks, and more. If you're looking for inspiration, practical advice, and a peek into what it's really like to lead at Rice, this episode is for you. Please welcome Kaitlyn. Hi, Kaitlyn. Thank you for joining us. So can you just give us a quick rundown on yourself, your name, year, major, and college, of course?
Well, I'm Kaitlyn. I'm a sophomore studying statistics in cognitive science. That's a double major. And I'm also in Duncan College.
So how has your leadership journey evolved from your first year at Rice to now serving as Duncan OE Coordinator?
Yeah, it's been a really long journey, but starting off, I came to Rice not even knowing what leadership was. And I saw the Doerr Institute for Leaders during O Week, and I was like, what is this? Should I get involved? I saw the video that you guys made, and I was like, oh, it's so cute. So I just looked into it a bit because of the 4 programs they have, and I thought activation would fit really well with my schedule since it's pretty flexible, and there's only 4 times that I get to meet throughout the semester. So I decided to start activation not knowing anything about it. And I kind of worked on my time management, my stress management skills, as well as just improving some of my emotional intelligence. And through that, I learned a lot more about Doerr and how to get involved in leadership on campus. So the first semester, I was solely focused on just the Doerr Institute. But my second semester, I started to join more clubs and trying to get more involved on campus. So I joined the 180 Degrees Consulting, also ended up joining RPC through that as well. I became a rep for RPC that second semester and just trying to show my face a little bit more. I also applied for more leadership positions during that second semester. So I became one of the co-heads for the Culture and Inclusion Committee. But that didn't officially start until my sophomore year. But just trying to get more involved throughout my time here at Rice and just kind of getting into O Week. I am big in event planning because I'm part of RPC. I'm also the co-head for the Culture and Inclusion Committee at Duncan. So I was wondering, how can I really improve my skills, or how can I grow them? How can I strengthen the ones that I already have while still doing what I love in event planning? And what bigger event planning position that you can do as a student on campus in OE coordinating? So it was the next step for me. And right now, that's the biggest thing that I'm doing.
That sounds really cool. I love how you took your first year fall semester to dive into kind of who you were, where you wanted to go with activation. It sounds like activation helped you do that. What has been the most exciting or challenging part of planning O Week 2025 so far?
Let's start off with the positives. The most exciting thing, I think, is just seeing everything come together. Right now, I'm in the process of choosing co-advisors. I've already chosen my home advisors, but it's been very, very exciting just learning about new people around campus. There are so many people who I've heard their name, I heard things about them, but I never actually met them. And this is the time where I'm actually getting able to learn who they are, meet them. They know who I am. So I'm growing a lot of my social skills as well as just my social health as well, which I really, really enjoy. I'll say that the most challenging thing about O Week is the amount of time that I put into it. I don't know if many people know, but for interviews, if we're doing interviews for home advisors, you have to set aside 30 extra hours in 1 week. And that's a full-time job on top of my schoolwork, as well as trying to go to classes. I'm also doing research, and I also have another job. So that has been really difficult. But luckily, that was only 2 weeks out of the semester. And right now, I'm at a place where I don't have to commit too much time to it and focus more on my finals and finishing off the semester.
Yes. I have heard OE coordinating takes a huge amount, and I can see why. It's a week-long, practically 24-hour event.
Yeah.
So you have such a big background in event planning. How do you balance Duncan's OE traditions with bringing your own ideas and visions to it?
I think this question is really interesting because we aren't changing too much. I'll say that one of the biggest things that Duncan's does during O Week is like a mock sensation. And sensation is our public that we have in the spring semester. But we kind of want to do like a twist on it. And since we have a private that's called Dunk Step. It used to be a public, so some people may know about it, but Dunk Step is a Western themed dance. And our theme is Lasso Week. We're like, well, maybe we can switch out the mock sensation for mock Dunk Step instead. And through that, we can also try to increase the participation that we have for Dunk Step when it happens in the fall. Since not many people usually go or even know about it, I think that's something that was really interesting. But I'm technically not the co-chord that tries to create like the new themes and ideas. There is another one that like another person that I'm working with that is really trying to incorporate like these really big ideas. And I'm not sure if they want me to like share that right now. So I'll just say something about Dunk Step.
Oh, well, that sounds awesome. Now, kind of moving out of a week, as the co-head of Duncan's Cultural and Inclusion Committee, what are some initiatives you're most proud of?
Some initiatives I'm most proud of, I think last semester we had a really big turnout for some of the FAQs that we did. We did one for the Hispanic Heritage Month that happened in September, October. It was a really big turnout and happened on, I believe, Families Weekend. So we had a lot more people show up and it was really fun. But for this semester, we also had like an event for Black History Month. We had like an hour of like trivia, and we also catered from a Black-owned bakery. And we also had a pretty good turnout for that as well. And everyone who came really, really enjoyed it and learned a lot of new information, which I really liked. And then something that is coming soon that not a lot of people know about is Women's History Month was in March, but we were kind of backtracked with classwork and me, I was recording. So me and the co-head weren't able to do too much, but we wanted to do something for Women's History Month. So Duncan will be receiving t-shirts that say like Happy Women's History Month. And then it also says like, I love Duncan Women. So we're really excited to give those out, and they're going to be free for all students.
That's so cool. You're a Doerr Ambassador. You have been working with us for the past few years, or couple years. And out of all the Doerr programs that you've taken, which was your favorite?
Ooh, so I've only done activation and catalyst, but I'll say that my favorite one was probably Conflict Isn't a Dirty Word. And I just did that one this semester. And I just really liked it because when I think of conflict, I always thought of it as something very negative. But when you actually search up the definition of conflict, that has nothing to do with any negativity or even positivity. It's just kind of like a neutral term. I really took that to heart because I think that I always hear it, oh, I don't want to get into conflict. I don't want to deal with this, and I don't want to have or like do anything with conflict or put myself in a situation. But going through the 2 sessions that I had for the Chaus program, I see like the benefits of what conflict has now, and I don't see it as a dirty word, or technically like exactly what it's called. I don't see it as something very negative, but how I can take a spin on it and kind of make it into something more positive.
I love that. And that is a common answer we get. Everyone seems to really love that module. It takes kind of some of the scary parts out of conflict that, you get in your head about.
Yes.
What's one thing you wish more students knew about the Doerr Institute?
Oh gosh, I think more students wish they knew that the Doerr Institute, I'll say it's really fun. It also is time consuming. I would have, when I'm doing like the tables, I like my residential college since I'm a Doerr ambassador. A lot of students are like, I don't have the time to really do any of the sessions. But when you really look into it, it's not a big time commitment at all. The Catalyst programs, if you only do one, it's only 4 hours a semester. And the activation ones is very flexible with your schedule, so you can choose the times that you want to meet with your leadership coach. So I wish more students kind of knew that it's not a big time commitment, and it can impact you so much. Like it impacted me. It can make you more motivated to join different leadership positions on campus. It can also strengthen your emotional intelligence, your social skills, as well as even some of the times your analytical skills too. So I wish they just knew that even partaking in a one Catalyst program that only takes 4 hours out of your semester could really benefit you a lot.
That's so true. It is a much less of a time commitment than people think, and the value you get out of it is pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what do you do as an RPC College Rep and Socials Committee co-chair?
For RPC, those are actually two different positions. I'll talk about the college rep first. And the college rep position is usually an appointed or elected position at a residential college, but Duncan typically doesn't have a lot of engagement in RPC. So I was actually given the position, which I was really happy about. And as a rep, I'm the person who puts out all of the RPC events like to the colleges must serve. And there's a lot of students who believe that I'm like a staff member because they receive emails from me at least like once a week. And they're like, who is this? But I just kind of like this to me, like I'm advertising like all the events that RPC does. But as a co-chair for the socials committee, it's one of the, I want to say there's 8 committees in RPC. And what I do, I put on 4 large events throughout the academic year. 2 of those are Rondelay and Esperanza, which I hope people know about. There's many people who don't know about them, but you can kind of think of it as, I guess, Rice's homecoming and prom dance that you see in like high school. It's kind of just like putting those together, finding venues, finding a DJ, the catering, as well as like making sure that we have the volunteers necessary for those events and advertising too. And Rondelay is actually happening April 11th, which is coming up. And I really hope everyone buys their tickets to it.
If you could plan any dream campus event with no limits, what would it be?
I actually wrote about this in my RPC application from my freshman year. I'm from Louisiana and Mardi Gras is huge. And I think there's such a good like benefit. It's just like how ironic how this is, but we have an inner loop and that could make a really good parade route. So if we can have some sort of like, I guess, Mardi Gras parade in the inner loop, that would be so much fun. I think a lot of students really like it. And there's also a lot of people who have never experienced Mardi Gras. And it can also help them not have to drive like 6 hours to go to New Orleans instead. So I thought if I could do that, I think it would be absolutely amazing.
I would like to go to that. That sounds incredible. I love Mardi Gras, but I can't get down to New Orleans. So I think it would be nice to bring Mardi Gras to Rice.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite RPC event?
There's so many. I think my favorite RPC event is probably Crush Party, and maybe a little biased because socials does put that on. But Crush Party happens around like Valentine's Day, and it kind of works with like the Rice Marriage Pact. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it's kind of like a form you fill out and you get matched like one other student at Rice, and that's like supposed to be like your marriage pact. But it's such a big turnout, and I love Valentine's Day. It's one of my favorite holidays.
Me too.
So just putting it together, it's really fun. And even if you don't have like a date to go, you can just go with your friends, and it's really, really cool to like make different bouquets of flowers and really enjoy like the love platonically or romantically.
Oh, now I want to go to it. I love Valentine's Day. It's just fun. It's fun. Now, here's a big question. As a Rice student, you have so much going on with academics. How do you balance your leadership roles with academics and trying to have a personal life in there as well?
It is hard. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of determination to do so, and also a lot of motivation and I think discipline. I'll say that when I started becoming an OE court and like doing other responsibilities for it, I realized that it was a lot more than I expected it to be. I knew it was going to be a lot, and a lot of people said, "Oh, that's so much," but I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. I can do it. I can take like 18 credit hours and also do like a recording." But I realized that it was a lot for me. And I think one of the biggest strengths that I learned this semester was that I can't do it all. So one of the things that I did is actually drop one of the classes that I believed I would not succeed in. And at first I thought that I was failing. I thought that, oh, I'm not good enough to do this. I don't know why. But eventually I realized that that's one of the strengths that I have is knowing when it's too much and knowing when to drop something that I believe is not as prioritized to me. So I was actually able to drop one of the classes that I had, and also I was on the e-board for NSBE, but I didn't really do too much. So it was also kind of like a time commitment to me to go to the meetings, while the meetings were not really saying too much that pertained to me. So I ended up also dropping that position, and I felt a lot more free. And I was able to commit more to a week and also commit more to the classes that benefited me a little bit more. So I think knowing how to do like time commitment is also where like knowing when to stop, knowing when enough is enough, but also seeing the benefit in like dropping things or resigning from like different positions that you have and putting more into the ones that you want to prioritize.
That's really great advice. I think that it's such a skill to learn how to say no. But by saying no to some things, you're saying yes to other things that are more important and need more of your time. If you could give one piece of advice to the new students coming in this a week, what would it be?
Ooh, one piece of advice. I would say take it slow. Rice is very academically rigorous, but also it can be a lot. A week is a lot, and it can be very socially heavy as well. So just give yourself time. I know it's scary. You want to triple major and you want to join 80 clubs, which is okay at first if you're willing to drop some of those classes and drop some of those clubs to find out like what's your really good niche. But I will say that it's your freshman year and this is a time to explore. So don't really have a fixed mindset, have a growth mindset and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, but also looking at yourself in the present and knowing like what is good for you and what is bad for you.
That's great advice. Really, really good. So now here's our rapid fire questions. What's your favorite Duncan College tradition?
I'll say Thursday, similar to Sundays that they have at Mert, but it started first year at Duncan's. So it's a milkshake making event, by the way.
One word to describe your experience at Rice.
Exhilarating.
Best study spot on campus.
I like to study in my room, and that's very controversial because a lot of people hate studying in their room. But if I wanted to give like a true answer, I think it's kind of weird, but the rec is really nice. For some reason, I think watching people work out kind of motivates me to study. So I guess that's something I really like to do is like study at the rec.
That is the first answer that I've gotten for that, but that's a good idea. They have nice couches.
They actually have like bar stools type of things too that you can study at.
Favorite meal at a servery?
Oh, okay. Favorite meal. I love breakfast, but my favorite server is West. And I really like Caesar salad, maybe like Mexican rice with chicken breast is really good altogether.
If you could change one thing about campus life, what would it be?
I wish we had more enthusiasm about sports. I know we're a very academically rigorous school, but I really hope that we can kind of like grow the sport culture up there because I would love to go to football games, but there's no one who wants to go with me.
That is true. We could have a better culture around sports for sure.
Yeah.
What's your go-to drink at Chaus?
I don't go to Chaus often, but if I do, it's probably lemonade.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing what it's like to be an OE court. And I loved all your advice for students on how to balance everything and not to be afraid to say no, and for sharing your experience with Doerr programs. And we're so excited to see you at OE and see everything you guys have planned.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's the first podcast, and it was an absolute blast.
Thank you for joining us for the Leading Owls podcast. We will be back next week with more leadership journeys and tips to share. New episodes release each Wednesday. For more information on the Doerr Institute for New Leaders and our free leader development programs for Rice students, please visit doerr.rice.edu.